So we told you at the top of the show that we have over 50% of the plants at the World Health Organization listed with health benefits, and here in Jamaica, the 50%. Here to tell us more about Jamaica's nutraceutical industry, President of the Northern Caribbean University, Dr. Lincoln Edwards, and Director General of National Commission on Science and Technology, Professor the Honorable Errol Morrison. Morning to you both.
Morning, John.
Morning. Good to see you, sir. 50% of plants here. Is that right, what I just said?
Yeah, the World Health has designated some 160 plants or so, which have reliably been shown to have some health benefit. Of those, nearly 80 or so have been found to be grown here in Jamaica. And we have known this for several decades, but have failed to really exploit the full potential of that.
Before I ask you why, the 50% would only be found in Jamaica or not necessarily so?
Well, I can't speak for the other countries, but I can speak for the knowledge that we have about our own flora here, that some half of those plants which are shown to have some health benefits, they can be found growing here. Not endemic in the sense that only in Jamaica, but certainly.
Why have we been tardy, sir?
Money. Because we haven't been short of the expertise, because as you know, way back in the 70s, we started looking at the extract from the cannabis plant. You know, Manley West and his colleagues, you know, extracted the eye drops and the asthma preparations. And even before that, a number of, at the level of the folk, you know, were using a variety of plants and so on to treat a variety of conditions. And as you may know, even from the 70s, earlier, they had discovered the periwinkle, the ramgoat roses. They thought initially it was helpful in diabetes, but when it was taken to Canada and studied, lo and behold, they were extracting an anti-cancer preparation, now known as vincristine and vinblastine, and used in treating leukemia. So there is truth, and there is, you know, this is what you may call a cultural science that has, you know, important aspects that we need to study and exploit.
Yeah. One of the things that's going to get us moving it will be partnerships.
Yes.
And NCU is partnering with Zon International Holdings Limited.
That's correct.
Nevertheless, and we're going to ask again about Zon and who is Zon International?
Well, Zon International is the company that has patented this plant that we have an interest in. It's a mutant plant from the ginger family, the Lesser Galanga family. And Northern Caribbean University became involved because when they were seeking partners to do research on this particular plant, Northern Caribbean University was the institution that was willing to take a risk and to work with them. And our scientists, Professor Omarigi, Professor Wright, Dr. Casey Reed, and others, they showed that in vitro, in culture, the plant extract has activity against cancer cells. So it was able to kill cancer cells. And so this launched the potential now for this plant to have medicinal and nutraceutical value.
Clarify for me when you say they have the patent on the plant. On the plant or on the extract?
The plant.
Clarify that for me, Prof.
Well,
you patent a plant?
Well, this is exactly the point.
Yes.
Because for the first time after 50 years, the United States has seen it, you know, prudent to patent this plant, which is a hybrid of the ginger. It looks different, it smells different, and it grows in an environment which would normally cause a rotting of the mother plant. So this is a special, you know, variety, and you know, so identified for the first time, as I said, in 50 years. Canada has also patented it, and all 27 countries in Europe have now patented it. And we're waiting in the wings, Brazil and a number of other countries.
Professor, I'm reading here, I hope you were quoted correctly, where you said 160,000 persons could be employed. In what different areas we're talking about?
The extract from this plant has been studied extensively, as you heard from Doc. And as recently as last year, a white paper, as we call it, from a number of international scientists assessing the health potential of this plant, came out quite supportive of the fact that it has anti-inflammation effects, anti-cancer effects, anti-diabetes effects, and promotes growth in a number of areas. So they have been looking to exploit these properties because they have done some initial studies at NCU and elsewhere. And so the potential for using these extracts as teas, fortified water, as animal feeds, and as medicines in what you call the naturopathic aspect of medicine, where you use a lot of these plant extracts in the treatment of diseases. And so starting with the teas, which is about to be launched, by the NCU, which we'll hear more. But just looking at the world demand, because, we have been out there in the world market looking at the potential. We are going to require, for just the tea alone, some 40,000 acres.
Yeah.
And for nutraceutical farming, which is different from the ordinary farming that you just stick a thing in water, and nutraceutical farming has its specific requirements. And per acre, we need about 4 workers.
Okay.
So
Okay.
as soon as this gets into full gear, 160,000 is just the tip of the iceberg that we see that this potential has.
Wow.
You're launching an institutional and national transformation drive.
That is
Talk
correct.
to us about that, because it will provide the injection that you are looking for to move this forward. Tell me
Right.
about the drive.
Well, this is a special year for Northern Caribbean University. We celebrate 100 years in Manchester. The university began in 1907 in Riversdale, St. Catherine, and then 12 years later was relocated in 1919 to Manchester. And so we're celebrating our centennial year this year. We're also celebrating 20 years of achieving university status. So the name was changed from West Indian Training School to West Indies College, now Northern Caribbean University. So during that celebration on June 24th, we'll be launching this drive with Zon International. And this is just a transformative time for NCU, because one of the things we are well known for is that when we first existed in the earlier years, this was at a time when tertiary education was available mainly to those who could afford it, the rich and the children of the elite. And NCU, because of its industries that it had, was able to attract poor Jamaicans to work in the industries and also to be able to afford the education. So we were acting more or less as the emblem and the engine of that revolution to provide access to quality, values-based education to the population. This partnership with Zon is going to expand on that, because Prof mentioned the over 40,000 acres that will be required. We have an agricultural program at NCU, so our students will be able to be involved in the planting and in making sure that these crops come to market. And then they will be able to earn enough money to afford their tuition. So this is a revolution where young people from all across the nation will be able to be interested in agriculture and be able to know that there is a way for them to afford quality and accessible tertiary education.
Okay. Double barrel question, Professor. Where will this 40 acres be?
40,000
acres, where will that be?
Well, it's something that has been discussed with government over the last several years.
Okay.
And we have been getting a commitment verbally at this time that they're prepared to put a variety of marginal lands, because this doesn't require any specific, highly fortified land. It will grow quite well in marginal land. So we have been getting a commitment that government is prepared to support this, because this is going to be a new national industry.
Fantastic.
Sitting beside sugar and bananas, if not in front.
You spoke to us about that ginger. What about the other 79 or so plants that we have found? What's going on there?
There are lots of them, and to name just a few in the highlights, it would be like turmeric, garlic, moringa, you've heard guinea hen weed, and it goes on and on and on. So, but what has happened, small forays into the marketplace has been taking place in those. But the ginger has exploded. Of course, the whole cannabis story is part of the nutraceuticals as well. Yeah. That has its own life, so we won't go into there. But now ginger is going to take, the lead in the general nutraceutical market. And I think close behind it will be turmeric and garlic.
And garlic.
As the big ones.
And
But,
this-
you know, again, the guess is there,
Yeah.
whoever can take the market. NCU has taken this market for the ginger, and we're looking for other sponsors who will take the markets for some of the other areas.
And they say garlic is the greatest antibiotic in the world.
Absolutely.
I'm
Good for the sore throat.
I'm actually having a cup of moringa tea. It's
Oh, okay.
actually the only tea I drink.
Really? Plenty of
Moringa.
protein and vitamins, eh?
Good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming, sir.
Thank you very much.
President of the Northern Caribbean University, Dr. Lincoln Edwards, and Director General of the National Commission on Science and Technology, Professor the Honorable Errol Morrison.
Stay with us to meet the artist creating a buzz with her charcoal art.
Soon come.